Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. My name is Elric, and in this video I'm going to talk about how I'm going to be transforming the JSON that we're getting from the last video, the Reddit submission JSON, and how we are going to build a table structure that will transform it and tell our system how to ingest it. So we're skipping ssis completely because it's really unnecessary in a lot of cases. So I hope you enjoy, and I will see you soon. So in the last video, I was talking about SQL executing Python, which was using the prowl library, which was pulling submissions from Reddit from our SQL. And this was the example at the very bottom of the procedure that I pulled from. So I'm going to go over how I've transformed this using a table structure. So I have a database called, or database unit called quality main, and history and archive show me all the changes that happen between these tables. And right now, these are the only tables that I'm using. And as we get deeper into quality assurance, we'll have more structures maintaining our system. But it's pretty simple, the same realm, class, family, type structure with a mapping table base. Now, this is a table valued function I created, get mapping tree, and I'll actually make this null right now. This allows me to pass it all or any realm, class, family, type key names and to get some information back, basically applying all of these tables together. So you can see that I have a realm of Reddit API, and I have mapping classes for submission, Redditor, and comment and subreddit right now. And the family key name, I'm choosing JSON because I'm actually mapping JSON. If I were downloading, if I was calling for XML, or if I was downloading files from an archive, I would probably not have this family. I would have the family most appropriate for the format I'm dealing with. And the mapping type key name helps me start to classify where it will end up in our system. So to go further into that, we have to look at that base table, that mapping. So this table value function shows us the class, family, realm, class, family, type. Now to look at the actual mapping table. What it is because this is JSON that we're using, that's all I have defined right now. The JSON key in each element matches this mapping source. And because this is a taxonomy system, everything requires a class, of family, and type. This is basically telling me where it needs to go. So we have post addresses, and we even have people for Redditors, posts for comments, and I believe I just have submissions, comments, and Redditors defined right now. So because of these two things, I wound up creating a new table value function that I can overload because most everything stays the same. I really just want to be able to call one function to get a JSON key name and a destination. Where does it need to go? If it was a Redditor, you could see it goes in the people. And we have 11 records, has verified email, is friend, gold, etc. And submission, everything changes and it goes in the posts. Table structure, which is in my data main database, and it's people. Let's post. Crazy looking structure. So that's how I'm mapping JSON to the tables itself. What it looks like when we're processing it is really I'm just opening the element. So if I'm getting, 100 submissions back or 100 comments back, for each element in that array, I'm going to be processing it like this. I'll have to open up the array and then open up each element. And this will give me back a simple table of the key and the value. So I would go in and I would say, because I'm using submission, or I could reuse this procedure, which I do, and say, or maybe not that specific name, but this would change from Redditor to comment to submission, which would then in turn change the values that I'm getting back based on the JSON key that I'm sending it, like create UTC or what have you. And then I'm picking up the mapping type name, and I want to print everything out just so I can show you exactly what's going on the inside of the load statement. So this is like the transform. This data is what we'll be using inside of the load procedure, which will be in the next video, just so I could keep these kind of short. So I ran it, and the first item in the JSON was the self text, which is the post itself. So it knew where to classify it, saying its destination is post text, and it's the body, which if I go to post text, and I just do select star, you can see we have thousands of comments and posts already, formatted max, 250 length, 2000 length, 1000 length, just to keep that physical model looking good. And then, URL, where does it go? Well, it's a PST address, electronic URL primary, and we would be able to find it in here. Identifier, the subreddit ID, the permalink, which is just a partial path of the URL, numeric for scores, the title, number of comments, the key name, the name, Reddit's specific name for the submission itself, the author name, create date, and just basically telling you where it needs to go. So if I say submission ID, what I can do is run this. Run post identifier, because you see it's pushing it to the identifier, which just, an alternate identifier for something. It could be a UPC, it could be, another company's name for the same part. I should have these loaded by now. Yeah, so I get the actual identifier. This tells me that this post ID from this post, where the text is, where the numerics are, where the flags are, whatever was necessary. Where post ID. I don't run comments very often because it's a lengthy process, but here's the actual post ID. This would be the text, and this would be the title. So this is the transformation, and yeah, in the next video, I will go over the procedure in which we'll record the history for all of this post data and place it in that crazy structure. So thank you very much for watching, and remember, like this video and YouTube will recommend it to other users, and subscribe to support me. Have a good one, and I will see you next time.